Hi, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Career Coach Office Hours. Tuesdays at noon Eastern, I like to spend a little bit of time answering questions from people about job search. And I'll just simply say, if you've got a question for me, put it in the chat so I can answer it live. I also want to encourage you, and excuse me, I got a little sloppy with chat here, that connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/thebiggamehunter. Mention that you saw this, or I'll just simply say, mention that you saw this video. I like knowing I'm helping some folks. Once we're connected, your network is going to become a lot larger. I've got more than 30,000 people following me, and they become your first level connections. In addition, you get access to lots of great information I share on LinkedIn. I also want to mention jobsearch.community, where I've got video courses, books, and guides to help you. Now, up here, I mentioned thebiggamehunter.us, which is my main site. And there's a lot of good information there to help you, but it's massive. And I created jobsearch.community to simplify things for folks. So I'll just simply say you can search the blog at thebiggamehunter.us, and you might be able to find the answers to your questions, or you can get access to all my video courses, books, and guides for one low cost per month, and I'd be able to answer your questions at that site. Again, thebiggamehunter.us is massive, like 13,000 blog posts. A lot of great information, obviously, but it's massive versus jobsearch.community, where I have all my video courses, books, and guides that I sell individually over here, but they're in one uniform price, and you can get them there. So just want to encourage you, thebiggamehunter.us. If you're interested in my coaching, you can schedule time for a free discovery call at this site, and I'd be very happy to meet with you and talk with you about coaching or answering your questions about salary negotiation or some other aspect of job search. I charge for that, of course, but you can schedule time with me for trusted advisor services at thebiggamehunter.us so I can answer your questions there. Also, on LinkedIn, you can subscribe to No BS Career Advice. I'm going to try and redo that quickly here. There we go. I release stuff on No BS Career Advice on Sunday mornings. It's a newsletter I put out on Sunday mornings, generally in the area of 8 a.m. Eastern. It has links to articles and videos I've released during the week, podcasts, because I've got No BS Job Search Advice Radio back again twice a week with podcast episodes to help you with your job search. New format. I like it a lot. It's conversational. Ronnie and Bobby are talking, and it gives you a chance to get acquainted with different topics from different people. So it's not just me talking at you. Ronnie and Bobby are doing that, and I'll just simply say, I hope you enjoy No BS Job Search Advice Radio, which is available in audio form on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm sure you're getting it. So again, No BS Job Search Advice Radio. Now, I always start these shows with a comment about job search. And I know there's a temptation, particularly in the U.S., that as we get to the Thanksgiving holiday and the period between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, there's a tendency that people have to go, oh, nothing's going to happen. I'll just pick up on it in January. Wrong. It's absolutely wrong. When I did recruiting, my best months for filling jobs were always November and December. Why? No one's available. But the reality was I was filling positions sometimes with January starts, but hiring managers knew their budgets, and thus they were trying to get a head start on filling jobs for a January start with their budget handled already. So in this particular case, it's the easiest time of the year to network. It's the easiest time of the year to reconnect with folks. Do it. Don't just sit back for a month doing nothing. Get together with folks. Sit down and talk. One of the people I coach got together with a number of people from his past at a holiday party. It's gotten him business. It's gotten him opportunities, in terms of full-time work. It's been really good for him. You can be doing the same thing. So again, I just want to encourage you, don't coast into the new year. Go all out. Don't take it easy on yourself. All that's going to happen is you're going to develop bad habits that are going to prove costly, and you're going to miss out on opportunities, and jobs are going to get filled. They're just not going to get filled with you, which is what you really want. So the long and the short of it is, get out there, keep networking, keep talking to people. Don't just get lazy, fat, dumb, and happy and not do anything. Okay? Just going to remind you, if you've got a question for me, put it in the chat so I can answer it live. Now, I received a number of questions in advance through LinkedIn. That's one of the reasons to connect with me, because you can send your questions to me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/thebiggamehunter. And I'll answer them on the show. Just mark that you'll attend and then watch the replay later on if you can't do it live. Now, among the questions I received was, what does it mean if an interviewer tells you that he or she has no more questions to ask? Does this mean that the interviewer is not interested in hiring you? Why would this happen? Well, what they're doing is signaling that the interview is really over. And, they've got nothing more they can ask you. And the correct response is, I've got a few things I'd like to ask you. Is that all right? They may say, well, I've got another meeting to go to, and I have to leave in about 30 seconds for it. So I just thought I would wrap up now, which pretty well signals that you didn't do well enough. But if they are willing to answer your questions, what it tells you is, okay, they want to sell to you. So have some questions prepared in advance. I've covered this many times on the show and elsewhere. And have some questions prepared in advance so that in this way, you can cover these points with them and create a great impression on the way out. So I know at jobsearch.community, I have my video course there called The Ultimate Job Interview Framework, which has 5 questions that you might ask at the end of an interview that are very good, that will give you information, will allow you to make a good choice about them and also impress them as well. So I'll just simply say jobsearch.community is a terrific site that will help you with your search. Go there, go exploring. A lot there to help you, okay? Another question I received is, what are some questions to ask the hiring manager at the end of an interview to show interest in the position? What a coincidence. I feel like Home Alone. It's just one of those funny things that one question leads into the next one. So, and I don't look at these in advance, so as you could probably tell. So let me hedge on the first question, because sometimes during an interview, they say something that seems a little weird based upon your understanding of the job. So it might be you read something in the job description, they talked with you about something a little bit different, and you might just simply say, I just want to check something out with me. In the job description, it spoke about this, but you're talking more about that. How do these kind of work together? And thus it gives you a sense of clarity about what you might ask at the end to get clearer about the job. Another question you might ask is, what would you say next steps in the process are going to be? And get information from them about when you might hear from them next. There's a lot of great information about this in jobsearch.community in the video course called The Ultimate Job Interview Framework. It will help you interview like an all-star, so that in this way you can create a great impression with a firm about you and your capabilities and what you can deliver for them it will serve you very well. Let's go to another question. Oh, yes. Let me just get it so I can get it onto the camera. How do I answer, what are your, dare I say it, yes, what are your weaknesses? So I think there's a number of different ways to address this. So let's start with the premise of choosing a weakness is most effective when it's relevant to the role yet manageable. The key is to be authentic while showing awareness and improvement steps. So one thing you might talk about is perfectionism. Many people see perfectionism as a safe weakness since it implies a high standard of quality. Another one is public speaking. It's common. Even many high achievers struggle with public speaking, so this feels honest. How to make it credible? Talk about recent steps you've taken, like practicing in small groups, taking courses, or volunteering for low-stakes presentations. Delegation struggles. I worked on this in advance. This one I did see beforehand. It's common. Well, many professionals, especially those in early leadership roles, struggle with entrusting tasks to others. So just remember that whatever you say, whether it's one of my suggestions or a different one, you want to talk about its effect on you, the things that you've done to rectify it, and that your presentation is that much better. There's difficulty in saying no, difficulty with progress, overthinking a problem. It's common because many people feel compelled to analyze every detail because they're afraid of making mistakes. Another one is discomfort with conflict. Many professionals struggle to address disagreements head on. And the goal for you is to make it credible, make it believable. Be specific about learning to recognize conflicts as constructive and how they're working on addressing issues earlier to prevent escalation. Again, a couple of different ways that you can address the weaknesses question that will give firms a good idea of where the weakness is. It's self-reflexive, while at the same time, it gives you a chance to promote yourself and your capabilities. So here's a fun one. Okay. Let me just get this in the chat. And do employers typically contact references before a second or third round interview? Generally before they're interested in hiring you. So it wouldn't be before the interview. It might be after the final interview, whenever that is. It might also be during a time where they're not sure and they're looking for the reference to be the tiebreaker when they speak with enthusiasm and passion for what they do. Excuse me one second. Thank you. I was up early today, or earlier even than usual. So I'm caffeinating today. So they would generally contact references at the very end of the process, not before the second or third interview, usually after the final interview, as a way of seeing if they can detect any problems that exist with you that might cause them to turn you down, or as a tiebreaker between two people whose candidacies are both very close and they're looking for someone else to make the decision for them. So that's generally when references are contacted. Just to remind you to put your questions about job search in the chat so I can answer them live. Okay. I've got more. How do I reply when HR says the expected salary range is too high for them from what they usually offer? Sorry. So I pause for a second and go, That's interesting. A lot of other firms, including two of your competitors, are paying that salary. Yeah, but we really can't. Well, let's continue on. I don't know enough about the job to know whether I should be flexible. On the other hand, I frankly don't think you know enough about me to make a decision that you should be flexible upward in order to be qualified for this role. So I'd like to continue on, understanding that for now, the maximum salary is X minus Y, and that's what you're willing to pay. And at the end of the day, I may decide that there's better opportunities for me, and I'll follow through with that. So that's the way I would address that question. Okay. More. Okay. Let me just get this one. Sorry. Should a CV or resume, let's go back here. Should a CV or resume include a link to a LinkedIn profile? Does this increase the chances of getting more interviews? You are simplifying it for the hiring manager or for the HR person who wants to get an idea of whether your background is congruent with what they're looking for. Sometimes a LinkedIn profile and a resume, you have to scratch your head and go, what? This doesn't look like Jeff. I'm going to use my own name here. This doesn't look like Jeff. It's very different than what I imagined his background to be. So it increases the chance of getting interviews because it saves time for the recruiter in their evaluation process to decide whether to invite you for an interview. So yes, in that regard, it's a time saver. Yes, your resume should include your LinkedIn profile URL. It will help you get more interviews. Okay. So if you've got a question for me, put it in the chat so I can answer it live. Also want to mention thebiggamehunter.us. We've got a lot of great content to help you. My books and guides are all available individually on Amazon. You can buy them as a paperback, a Kindle book. Some of them are available as audiobooks. There's a lot of different ways you can get access to my material. Also, I'll mention to you that jobsearch.community has all my video courses, books, and guides available for one low price. It is a great priced item. It will help you land work. You could take the $49 per month package, get access to all my content for that one price, and it will help you a lot. Okay, so again, the website is thebiggamehunter.us. Let's move on. Let's see now. Ooh, sorry. Is it a good sign that an interviewer talks about the company during the interview? Sometimes people are looking for all the magic in advance, and there is no magic. What it is they evaluate and assess people. They refer you to their individual client at the firm. There's lots of benefits for them. It's not necessarily a good sign that the interviewer has talked about the company during the interview. You are always better off presenting yourself as world-class, not half-assed, and making them fall in love with you. Every time you're in a situation where you're networking or trying to connect, let's keep going, okay? I'm going to do one more question today, and then I'm going to wrap because I'm teaching a class at 1, and I need to do a little bit of prep for it, okay? Here's a fun one. How do employers check candidates' employment history beyond reference checking? The short version is there's a million ways to background check someone. They can check your arrest record. They can check your conviction record. They can ask you for 3 references of people who can evaluate your work. There's lots of different ways to check references on someone beyond checking the reference. So they can mail your former employer after you join. So again, lots of different ways that you can do it. So I'm Jeff Altman. I hope you found today helpful. If you did and you're watching on YouTube, share it, leave a comment, click the like button. Do something that lets people know you thought it was worthwhile. Also want to mention, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/thebiggamehunter. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn, linkedin.com, IN/thebiggamehunter. Follow me on YouTube at jobsearch.community. That's my YouTube channel. On Instagram, I'm at Jeff Altman, JEFFALTMAN. At LinkedIn, let's skip others. I'll just simply say, I want to help you. It's why thebiggamehunter.us has thousands of posts designed to answer your questions about your job search, leadership, management, and more. I hope you have a terrific day, and most importantly, be great. Take care.